My name is Emily Miller. I've been remarried for 5 years and live in a family of 4, including my mother-in-law and my husband's child from a previous marriage. My husband, John, has a 14-year-old daughter, Sarah, from his previous marriage. She's in her second year of middle school and seems to be at a difficult age. She doesn't seem to think too highly of me. My mother-in-law dislikes me because Sarah does. I knew it would be tough to be accepted by a stepchild in a remarriage, but I never expected it to be this hard. However, I believe my husband is on my side. I think. John claims to be a novelist and tries to gain recognition by posting his work online. I thought he might be getting offers from publishers, but all he gets are a few ghostwriting jobs. Basically, he's just waiting for someone to buy his stories that he uploads online, not really making it big. Before we remarried, I had no idea about his situation and was made to read his numerous online stories, thinking they were the real deal. I'm a writer, you know. He would say this with a serious face, drinking and showing off his knowledge. Believing in his charm, thinking there's no one as wonderful as him, I decided to remarry. But after getting married, I realized that John is the type of person who lives off others while dreaming big. He brags about being a famous writer. Yet he can't manage money at all. I'm a writer, so I don't worry about money. If I did, I couldn't write good stories. I'll leave the details to you. Those were the first words he said to me after our marriage, and I misunderstood them as trust. John seems to believe that he's getting royalties in his bank account. While he does work occasionally, the only jobs he gets are for ghostwriting, so there are no royalties coming in. In the end, it's my side job that's keeping the household afloat, but my position is very weak. Being a remarried partner, I feel like I'm treated like Cinderella. Emily, I'd like some fish for dinner tonight. Get some tuna, will you? My mother-in-law says this casually. Despite my reluctance, I go shopping, but then Sarah demands. Get me a hamburger. Wait, dinner's almost ready? So what? I want a hamburger. Go get it. Can't you get that little thing for her? She's just a kid who wants a hamburger, for crying out loud. It's not about being stingy, they just don't understand that dinner is almost ready. Who do you think you are? And give me $100. $100? Yes. What for? There's this trendy character merchandise that my friends have, and I don't. I have to buy it. Oh dear, that's terrible. If you don't have the same thing, you'll be left out. Emily, give her the $100. But this month is tight. What? What kind of wasteful spending are you doing? Aren't you getting royalties from your son's books? Don't tell me you're using it all for yourself and not giving us any? That's awful. Why did Dad marry someone like you? You're the worst. Really? What a terrible woman. I haven't spent a penny for myself. Sure. These two don't understand anything about money. Even if I show them my empty wallet and say we're short on funds, they accuse me of hiding money somewhere, of being selfish. And so, I end up giving in and heading to the bank. You're really the worst kind of wife. You're married to a famous writer, for crying out loud. Don't be so miserly. Every day, these harsh words break my spirit. Then why don't you handle the finances yourself? As if you could. That's what I think, but I know handing over the wallet would only cause more trouble. In the end, the only thing I can do is focus on my side job. What are you doing when we're not around? What do you mean? Grandma. She's always on the computer doing something. I bet she's on dating sites, looking for someone to cheat with. I can't believe she would say that. That's not something a 14-year-old girl would think of. What? Are you really doing that? How low can you get? I'm not doing anything like that. I hardly have any free time. Sarah, don't say things you don't know about. Don't act like a mother to me. A woman like you would definitely do something like that. They keep attacking me with these baseless accusations. I wish they would stop. I was exhausted and thinking that this marriage was a mistake. When I had to go back to my parents' house for something. When I returned, the house was empty. Most of the furniture was gone, only my personal belongings were left. Confused about what was happening, I got a call from my mother-in-law. Everything's gone from the house. We've moved to a high-rise condo. A high-rise condo? If you want in, you'll have to apologize. I could hear John and Sarah laughing in the background. Thinking how foolish this all was, I politely declined. No way! You three enjoy yourselves. Oh, how noble of you. Then I heard my daughter's voice, as if she was on speakerphone. You finally realized you're not wanted, huh? We never needed you from the start. Dad's right to divorce someone like you. Yeah, that's right. I didn't realize you hated me so much. Sorry about that. Was John in on this too? Or rather, was he just blindly following what his daughter and mother were telling him? Are you saying you want a divorce? Yeah, that's right. I heard you've been using all my royalties for yourself. I can't forgive that. I've been writing hard for the family. I never thought you could do something so dirty. Are you serious? Of course. I heard everything from Mom and Sarah. What did they tell you exactly? They said you won't buy Sarah what she wants, you won't even let her eat what she wants to eat. You're doing the same to Mom, and on top of that, you're looking for someone to cheat with. That's shocking. Why would you think I'm looking for someone to cheat with? When would I even have time to cheat? I hardly ever go out. You went out today, didn't you? Yeah, I went out, but I wouldn't go cheating wearing jeans and a worn-out t-shirt. If I had time to cheat, I'd do something else. I don't know what you think, but the fact is, Sarah and Mom hate you. I can't see you as a wife when the family hates you. I see. But how did you manage to rent a high-rise condo? We don't have that kind of money. I borrowed from a payday lender for now. What? You're kidding. Why are you so surprised? You've been managing my bank account, so I had no choice. Once the divorce is final, give me back my bank book. After all, the royalties come into that account. Oh, and I won't pay you any alimony, by the way. Alimony? Yeah. Just because you're married to a famous writer, don't even think about asking for alimony. If you do, I'll sue you for cheating. You can't sue me for alimony. I haven't cheated. So, what should I do with the divorce papers? I left the divorce papers on top of your computer. When I went to my room, sure enough, there were the divorce papers on my computer. With John's signature on them. The divorce papers didn't make me feel sad or anything. Instead, they seemed to mock me. Just sign it and file it, and that'll be the end of it. After that, you and I are strangers, as are my mother and Sarah. No matter how poor I get, don't come begging me for money. Don't worry. I'll send you the bank book, so just give me your address. You're not planning to barge in, are you? Like, breaking in while we're not home? Is your high-rise condo so poorly secured that I could do that? Don't worry, Grandma. We have security here. If someone crazy like her shows up, they'll be caught right away. Yeah, right. Fine, I'll email you the address. And that's how I finally broke ties with my husband. No more Cinderella life for me. I moved out of my current house and rented a spacious apartment for myself. I decided to spend my time and money on myself from now on. 2 months have passed since then. I was enjoying my freedom and daily life when I received a call from my ex-husband, John. Wow, long time no see. How's life in the high-rise? It's great. So, why the sudden call? The real estate agent told me the rent couldn't be withdrawn. You haven't been withdrawing money from my account, have you? I sent the bank book to you. You got it, right? Yeah, I got it. Then there's no way I could withdraw anything. Besides, there's no money to withdraw anyway. Strange, then why can't the rent be withdrawn? Did you check the account balance? Huh? John said, hold on a second, and seemed to move somewhere, probably pulling out the bank book. Hey! Why is the balance only $120.76? You must have been using it, right? I should have received royalties last month. How could I use it? Why don't you check the last transaction date on that bank book? Huh? $600 7 months ago? Why so little? I remember when you got that job. The editor originally wanted another ghostwriter, but he got sick suddenly, and they asked if anyone else was available. You volunteered, but the editor wanted someone else, and you ended up writing it for a bargain because they had no money. You were just used, you know. That's ridiculous. Forgot about it? Well, you didn't seem to care about the payment anyway. No wonder you forgot. Typically, ghostwriting pays much higher. The average is around $16,000, but John's lack of fame and skill made editors reluctant to hire him. That's why he barely got any jobs. He was the last resort. So even this amount was a blessing for him.
What about the royalties? I should be getting them every month.
You never received any royalties.
That's ridiculous.
Ghostwriters rarely get royalties, especially not someone like you.
What do you mean, someone like me?
Oh, sorry. Anyway, that's the reality. Can you even pay the rent for your high-rise? But we're divorced now, so it's none of my business.
This is weird. It's definitely weird.
What's weird?
My books are selling.
Are you dreaming? I've never heard of your books selling. You upload free ebooks, but does that even make money? If it does, how much? How many people are buying them? Have you checked that?
Well,
I'd seen John's page before, and there were only traces of 4 or 5 books being bought. Probably by his acquaintances. I don't know if they sold after that, but even if they did, it couldn't be more than 10 copies.
Wait. Let me check.
While John was checking and I was waiting, I also looked at his work, and the reviews were awful. Terrible. So boring. Give me my money back. It seems there are indeed people who are buying his work, after all. But, surprisingly, there were also comments like, "This gave me courage." Curious, I read them, and it turned out they found courage because his writing was so bad, it made them feel better about their own work. I almost wanted to applaud. I could hear noise and commotion on the other end of the phone. His mother and daughter were also in a frenzy.
Hey, I get that you have no income now, but how have you been living up to this point?
It seems he finally understood the reality of having no income. It was my income.
Liar. Your income can't be that much.
True, my income from my day job in administration was around $1,800 a month. It would vanish on rent, utility bills, tuition, and allowances for my husband John, his mother, and his daughter Sarah. Realizing this wasn't enough to live on, I, who always loved writing, started working as a freelance writer. And it was a hit. I began receiving job offers one after another. That's how I managed to cover our living expenses. Thanks to that, I even managed to save some money, which allowed me to rent a bigger apartment than where we used to live. If we hadn't divorced, that wouldn't have been possible. So, thanks for divorcing me.
That's ridiculous. So what are you going to do about the high-rise condo?
You rented it yourselves, so you'll have to figure it out. We're divorced, so it's none of my business now. John was so shocked he seemed lost for words, and all I could hear over the phone was his breathing. About a week later, I got a call from Sarah, my former stepdaughter. "Mom, are you doing okay?" "Oh, ED.
What? Huh? Ed?
Ex-daughter. Ed. Are you okay in the head?" "Feeling great. I've been in top shape since I left you guys."
Hey, is that sarcasm?
Yes, sarcasm. Got it?
Geez, Mom.
I felt a chill down my spine at her overly sticky way of calling me Mom. "So, what do you want?" "Well, it seems like Dad doesn't have any money." "I figured as much. So, I was hoping you could help us." "Really? You're asking me for help after how much you disliked me." I never disliked you. I liked you so much, I just didn't know how to get along with you." "Really? So now you're cozying up to me because you found out there's no money at home? Let me ask you, would you leave someone you like alone and move to a high-rise condo? Doesn't make sense, right? If you really liked someone and wanted to get along, you wouldn't do something like moving away from them."
But Grandma said we don't need Mom around. I really wanted to stay with you, but I couldn't go against Grandma, you know?
I see. But you know, I haven't forgotten what you did to me. You asked me for $100 even though we had no money, just to buy some character merchandise. If we had that kind of money, we would have needed it for food. When I refused, you took it from my wallet without permission. Do you know what that's called? Theft. It might be hard for a minor like you to understand, but taking someone else's things is a crime. And that's not all. You took jewelry from my jewelry box without asking. You used them and then just left them lying around. How can you be so thoughtless? You'd leave your clothes everywhere, and your room was always a mess. It was disgusting. No matter how many times I asked, you never tried to tidy up. It was beyond frustrating. And yet, you had the nerve to call me noisy. I don't want to be called Mom even as a joke by someone like you. It's creepy, so don't ever call me Mom again.
Ugh. Just shut up. you stupid old hag. No matter how sweetly you pretend, I know it's all lies. After all you've done to people, you think they'd help you when you're in trouble? What do you mean? What do you mean? Knowing I'm in trouble and not helping. You really are mean.
I don't care what you say. It doesn't bother me at all. Besides, moving to the high-rise apartment was a decision made by your family, right? It's none of my business. You chose this, so you should deal with it yourselves. I've become the stranger you all wanted me to be. If you have complaints, talk to your dad and grandma.
Ah. I can't believe it. I was being nice to you, and this is how you treat me. I shouldn't have been nice in the first place.
You think that was being nice? You were just trying to deceive me and failed. Sorry, but don't underestimate adults. Back when we lived together, Sarah used to call me an old hag. Now she's calling me mom, so something must be up. It seems the whole family is trying to trap me and take my money. They must have thought they could manipulate me using the child. But after everything that's happened, it's not going to work that easily. Yet, the three of them can't give up their high-rise lifestyle and are struggling without moving out. They're stuck in a cycle of borrowing more from payday lenders, even though they haven't repaid the debt from renting the high-rise. It's clear where this is heading, but they seem to think everything will work out somehow. However, there's a limit. When they couldn't make the monthly payments and received a court notice demanding full repayment, John, realizing the seriousness, found out where I live and came to my apartment directly.
Emily! No, Miss Emily, Your Highness! Please, I'm begging you, help us!
How did you find out where I live?
I looked it up.
Ah, scary. I thought you had lost the use of your legs with all the trouble you've put on me.
Don't be so mean.
Mean? I'm just being honest.
Please, I'm begging you, lend me some money.
You're still living in the high-rise?
Yeah, we haven't considered moving out.
Really? How are you managing to live with no money? We borrowed a lump sum from a payday lender. Are you an idiot? You know how high the interest rates are there. You can't even repay it, so why borrow? You haven't even paid back the money for renting the high-rise, right? Yeah, haven't paid it back. Why are you so proud of that? Just leave the high-rise already. As a struggling writer, you should live in a cheaper apartment.
How can I do that?
Huh?
A top writer like me living in a cheap apartment? I'd be laughed at by the publishing houses.
Don't worry, you're already being laughed at.
That's not true.
Face reality. Ghostwriters get paid an average of $16,000 per job, and you're taking them for $600. Can't you see how little they respect you? You're not even considered seriously.
That's not true. I just gave in because the editor was in trouble.
You're still saying that.
Soon, I'll write something only I can write, something big.
Say that after you win an award. Right now, you're not even close to honorable mention.
Ah. Awards aren't everything.
Sure, but if you won a big one, it would turn everything upside down.
It's not like that. I have my own Hearts Award.
Your Hearts Award, what's that?
It's an award in my heart.
How utterly foolish. So, you mean nobody else recognizes your work? It's not even worth discussing. Just go home.
Don't say that, I'm really in trouble. Recently, Sarah's been throwing tantrums, wanting this and that.
Well, of course. You can't afford to buy her anything.
She says she can't relate to her friends because of that.
There are ways to socialize without things, especially at her age.
No, it's sad. I want to buy her things too. Oh, and now she's saying she won't go to school anymore.
Why jump to that?
She says school is boring because she can't relate to her friends.
She's just like you, saying such foolish things. It's your fault for not teaching her properly. There are other ways to handle things, especially for a middle schooler.
Please, she's been acting out recently, even punching holes in the walls.
Oh, so the high-rise is poorly built? Why don't you write a novel about it? Remember the novel Jenga that became popular? There are people suffering from domestic violence, so if you write a true story, it might be a hit.
I already wrote one. It only made things worse.
How so?
I wrote it and posted it online, and everyone realized it was about Sarah. Now her friends are laughing at her. She's actually stopped going to school.
Why would you write it in such a way that everyone could tell? It's your fault.
I can't write nonfiction.
But you can write fantasy stories, Can't you?
Everyone says it's all my fault. Well, I guess they're right. If you're even remotely a novelist, you should have some ability to embellish. In the end, they just yell at me to bring you back.
Me? Why?
They think with you here, we could manage the money somehow.
What? I'm appalled.
Don't say that. Admittedly, when you were here, we managed to get by.
But living in a high-rise is impossible.
Can't you make it work somehow?
I really can't.
So please, help us.
No, I have no intention of helping you.
Are you still working in administration?
No.
What? What kind of job are you doing now? You need a good income to rent a big apartment.
Obviously.
What are you doing then?
I'm a writer.
A lighter? Like one that lights up and burns?
Who would set themselves on fire to make money? I'm not that brave.
Then, what kind of writer? Don't tell me, a ghostwriter?
Yes. I get quite a few ghostwriting jobs. There are a lot of requests from publishing houses. Besides, I also write blog articles. It pays well. The last ghostwriting job I did earned me $26,000. Plus, they give me royalties, so I'm looking forward to the future.
You're lying. How is that possible?
I've always liked writing. I never thought I could make money off it. Living with you, I had no choice but to try, and it worked out. Now I can make a living as a full-time writer.
Then help us out.
No.
Fine. Let's remarry then.
With whom?
With me, obviously.
You suspect me of cheating when I haven't, and you still think I'd remarry you?
I don't care if you cheat. If we can live in the high-rise, I'll endure anything.
You don't have to endure anything. I have no plans to remarry you.
Don't say that.
I don't want anything to do with you. Give it up. Seeing John groveling at my feet was pathetic. I thought it could make a good novel. After that, the John family finally moved out of the high-rise. Their new place was a cheap apartment, but it turned out to be a haunted one. They must have thought going for the cheapest possible option was best. But I wouldn't voluntarily choose to experience such fear. As a result, they are experiencing strange noises, and Sarah claims to see things in empty rooms, worsening her mental state. However, they are also showing some growth. John, realizing they were on the brink of homelessness, started working multiple part-time jobs at 40. He's run ragged, but it's a valuable experience. His mother, meanwhile, manages to earn about $200 a month doing piecework. Because of their high debt repayments, they mainly eat ramen noodles, and Sarah plans to work part-time once she's in high school. Still, she remains mostly reclusive and often throws tantrums, breaking dishes and throwing things. As for me, I've been living peacefully since John stopped visiting. Now, I'm recalling the days I lived with John's family and turning them into a novel. The story has become a hit and there's talk of turning it into a movie. I never imagined such a dramatic turnaround in my life, but I'm excited to see what happens next.